I'm Ted Wyman here with another edition of On the Rocks, where we talk about curling in Canada. And today, I'm very pleased to be joined by one of the great up and coming curlers in this country. Well, wait a second. I'm going to have to go back here. Actually, we're being joined by one of the legends of curling in this country, Mr. Glenn Howard, who is at the Boost National in North Bay, Ontario, and very gracious to join us here to talk a bit about curling. Glenn, how are you doing today?
I'm great, thanks, Ted. Yeah, thanks for having me on. Looking forward to this, and yeah, not a great start up here in North Bay, but whatever. I'd rather talk curling right now, anyway.
Right on. Okay, well, listen, man, the first thing I got to ask you about is I know you had your 60th birthday, I think in July, and here
I
you
did.
are, you're still curling at an incredibly high level with the best men's teams in the country. You're out there this morning playing. You know, it seems like it's defying logic that you're still able to do this, but I know how much you love the game and you just don't want to give it up. Is that a fair assessment?
That's a very fair assessment, Ted. And it's not about giving it up. It's just I just enjoy it so much. I have so much fun. I always have. Every time I lace up the shoes, I just can't wait to get out there and throw some rocks. Obviously, playing with my son Scott, and then with Timmy and Dave. They've been amazing. We love to curl, and I love to curl. And I still can't see myself sitting at home watching it on TV. I'm not ready for that. And obviously, Ted, I think I've talked to you for years now. It's always been a year at a time, and that's kind of the way I look at it. Is see how this year goes and then assess and go on to the next year. And I'm not embarrassing myself yet, so that's kind of good. But and I'm not naive enough that if we start losing way too much, the fun comes out of it. But that's really what it's all about, Ted, is fun. And I just love being out there competing and having fun and doing my thing. And why not? Like if I can keep doing it, like there's no shame, right? It's all about enjoyment. And I'm retired now from the beer store for about 3 years, so I got more time in my hands, so I can go and play some more. So I just love being out there. Is the bottom line.
Yeah, and it seems to me that, you could obviously go and play a different level of curling. You could go into a more recreational phase of your life, I suppose, but it's clearly not just about curling, but playing at this high level that you want so badly to still be a part of.
Well, you're absolutely right. Like I've been asked to play seniors for I've missed 10 years of seniors. I guess I'm probably into masters now, but I've been asked to do that with a lot of really great curlers, and I think it would be a ton of fun. But I still love playing with the big boys right now. Playing in the Grand Slams and getting to a Briar and playing in the Briars and this sort of thing. It just gets the blood flowing, and it's just so much fun. And that's at some point when I do pack it in from the competitive, I'm sure I'll still curl. At what level, I have no idea, but it's just so much fun to be out here with it, playing against the Gooses, the Cooies, these teams, Dunstone, and all the top teams, and we're right there with them at times, and that just gets me going, and that's just I get so much enjoyment in it that's why I want to keep playing.
So you touched a bit about your team, and obviously Scott's a big part of that team, and you guys chose to stay together this year. It was a real blow up year for curling in Canada, and most of the top men's teams, even Brad Gushu, with some changes, right, and some completely new teams out there. What about this team? I know you play with your son, so I'm sure you enjoy that immensely, but why did you think we can keep this team together and keep pace with these other teams that are doing, making so many changes to try to get to that slightly next level?
Well, it's ironic you say, because it wasn't so much a matter of me keeping the team together. I actually I pulled the leash off the necks, so to speak, of the boys. I just said, guys, if you guys want to move on, you're young, you're half my age. If you want to go on, you get better offers here and there. By all means, take them. There's no hard feelings, no nothing. I would totally understand. I did make it clear that I still kind of wanted to curl another year at the very minimum. But even my son Scott, I said, Scott, if you want to go and you get a better offer, you go for it. Like it's no problem. And I would totally understand. As it turns out, all three wanted to stick with me, and I said, I really want to keep playing, and we have a lot of fun. We're not a cookie cutter type of curling team. We take things a little bit less less serious. We don't mind having a beer or two afterward. We have a lot of laughs. We do this. That being said, we still want to win, and we still try very hard, and still, we hate losing. But at the same token, it's a less stress team. We're not we don't get too hung up on certain things, and we just go out and curl and have fun. And the boys seem to enjoy it. I really enjoy it, and I think that's what it's all about. And a lot of teams now, to your point, you knew there was going to be some big changes. There always is in a quadrennial. Really surprised at some of them. I just didn't see this many and that radical a change in a lot of these teams. I think of the top 10 teams in our country, there's like ourselves and Colton Flash. I think we're the only two that stayed together. I was shocked. I didn't see that more a dramatic a change, and some teams that I didn't quite see the combo. But it's all about, the grass is maybe greener, and they try and figure out they want to get the perfect lineup. Maybe it wasn't what they expected the year before or 4 years before. I understand that, and a lot of these teams, it's a business. It's all about like winning and getting to the top level, and you want to be number one in the world, and they make the changes accordingly. So again, every quadrennial's been there's been changes, but this has been the biggest blow up in men's and women's. I'm shocked at a lot of it, but I think that may be the sign of things to come. Ted, it's going to be like this, I think, from moving on.
Well, speaking of dramatic changes, you recently were announced as the new coach of Team Jennifer Jones. And if there's one team out there on the women's side that's made a pretty dramatic change, it's that one, of course, with Jennifer Jones and her longtime teammates breaking up as a team and her joining the Mackenzie Zacharias team out of Manitoba, keeping that team intact with, well, the greatest women's skip of all time, let's say, as they're throwing last rocks for them. I mean, it's quite an amazing thing. And you are going to coach that team now, or already are. What's your thoughts on what you're looking at there?
Yeah, Ted, it really kind of came out of nowhere just recently. Jen called me up and just said, "Hey, would you be interested in kind of watching our team or helping us out for a couple of weekends?" And then, as it turns out, Victor had to. He's got another job opportunity, Victor Krell, and I know they love Victor, and Victor loved them, and I know that was a very amicable breakup, so to speak. He just went. He's going on to another employment, and he just couldn't give them the time. So Jen and the girls, I guess, talked, and they said, my name popped up, so they gave me a shout, and I helped them out in Fredericton, and then I helped them out last weekend in Toronto, and I think all things have turned out well. That they want to keep me on, and I think it's going to be a perfect fit for me. I told them that obviously I'm still curling, so I can't give them 100%, but I'll give as much as I possibly can. But from my perspective, Ted, like, Jennifer Jones is the GOAT. There is no question in my mind. She's the greatest female curler of all time. And to have an opportunity to join forces with her is unbelievable. And then on the other side of the coin, you've got Team Zacharias. And I've got to, be with the girls for a couple of weekends now. And not only they're extremely talented, they are very knowledgeable. They totally understand the sport of curling, and they're lovely young ladies. They are absolutely a pleasure to be around. They're just mature beyond their years, what I've noticed already. So I think it's going to be an incredible combination with the youth and the old. With maybe I'm going to have to throw Jen into my era, but the two old dogs with the skip and the coach. But I think it's going to a really cool mix, and I'm excited about it because I'm really it's going to be interesting to see how good this team can get. And Jen's fired up, and you know what happens when Jen gets fired up. She doesn't miss too many shots, and the girls are really they're listening well. They're sponges. There's so much talent there. There's so much potential. I'm super excited as a coach to be a part of this and to see where we can take it, hopefully in the next 4 years.
Well, you got to say it's a little different. You got the 60-year-old coach, the 48-year-old skip, and then everyone else is under 23. So
That's right.
that's a
Yeah,
little different.
you got to. It's a little different, and but like I said, just lovely girls. They're again. I'm really impressed with the knowledge they've obviously all of them had great coaching in their careers already, young careers, very accomplished, world champions. Like, it's just amazing what they've already accomplished, but very mature beyond their years, and they get it. And what I like is they want to learn, and hopefully I can help out in some way. And obviously with Jen at the helm, again, the sky's the limit.
This obviously isn't your first rodeo as a coach either. I know you've coached internationally. You've been involved for quite some time. How big of how big a part of your curling existence, I guess, for lack of a better word, is coaching? How much focus have you been putting on that over the years?
Well, so not a ton, Ted. Like I did 3 years with Team Eve Muirhead. Obviously, we went to Pyeongchang in the Olympics in 2018. That was my first real kick at a grand scheme coach. Like I've dabbled with my kids this a little bit here and there. Nothing permanent. That was the big one for 3 years. That was interesting because I realized that I really enjoyed it. That was number one. Number two, I learned a lot about myself as a coach because it isn't cookie cutter. You can't just because you've been a decent curler or have had a great career doesn't make you a good coach. So I learned a lot about coaching per se. I also learned a lot about uh, you see the game quite differently from the coach's bench. It's amazing. I find it very clear as a coach. You're not clouded by strategy, teammates, ice conditions, rocks, whatever. You just sit back and watch the whole big picture, and I really enjoyed that because I thought all of a sudden the game's a lot clearer to me, and I think that's helps me as a coach is I can bring that on to the players. But I realized it was really I really enjoyed it. Now I haven't coached since 2018, so I've kind of just been doing my own thing in curling. It can be a little challenging when you're in the same event, such as here. You're kind of wearing two hats, but it's not that big a deal. It's not that bad. I can easily throw one hat on and put the other one on and go from there. So, and the girls have been amazing because they like Jen just said at the beginning, Glenn, whatever time you can give us, that's a bonus to us. And if you want to take a game off or you want to do this, she was great. And the girls said the same thing, no pressure, which really makes it easy for me because there are going to be times where maybe I'm a little tired and I got a big game tonight sort of thing. And they're going to understand. And that's awesome. So with that really helped me, easy decision for me when that came about. And so I love the fact that they were very reasonable, I guess is the way to put it. But and I so now I want to give. Unfortunately, my personality is I want to give 150%. So I'm going to do the best I can to get to that point.
Nice. That sounds great. And you wouldn't be the only person in that in a Grand Slam event that's playing and coaching. I mean, I know there's quite a few. And another question I wanted to just quickly ask you about was after your time with the Muirhead team. I know it ended in disappointment in Pyeongchang, but it sure didn't in Beijing. They win the gold medal. What was your thought on seeing that happen for even just after such a long career for her to have that great capper?
Oh, super proud of them. Ted. I got to know the girls quite a little bit different team, but some the same. Obviously, knew Evie really well, and for them to finish that off, I was super proud. They were hanging on. They were just to get into the playoffs, and then they got good. They got better, and they did what they had to do. And for her to put that gold medal around her neck, I was really proud. I immediately got a hold of her, and she says, "Oh, hey, coach, you've been a part of this run." I said, "Well, whatever. The bottom line is you guys were amazing. Super proud of you." And I felt so good for the girls because winning a gold medal is not easy, and I don't care what level or where you came from, but super proud to see them do that. And great organization, great team. It was exceptional. I was teary eyed when I saw them win it all.
No, that's fantastic. Yeah. The last thing I wanted to talk to you about was just a discussion about the rules of curling, about how much things have changed over the years. And really, when I researched this, I look back, and of course, there they talk about the biggest shift of all time in curling, which was moving to the free guard zone back in 1993, I think, 1994, somewhere in there. And
Yep.
you and your brother Russ obviously had a huge part in getting the powers that be in curling to look at that rule and to make a change. But it seems to me there's been almost constant change in the rules ever since then. And you talk to some curlers and they say, it's time to let it go. Let's just let it be what it is and not always be tweaking it. Where do you stand on that? Do you like the way things are going, and should it always be evolving? Or is there a time to say, let's just play this game the way it's meant to be?
It's a great question, Ted, because I look at my whole career. For the majority of my career, half of it, nothing was changed. Nothing changed at all. And
For
then
20 years,
Russ
right?
came up with the idea of the free guard. Yeah, elite. Yeah, exactly. And then Russ came up with the idea of not hitting rocks out front. It started as the Moncton rule, dwarfed into the free guard zone, which I think is the greatest rule change in the history of curling. Had to be done because it was just boring. The eighth, ninth, tenth end, same strategy for both teams. There was no thought. Um, but then, as you know, it took like Canadian Curling Association, the World Curling Federation to make years before they would make a decision. Now it seems like it's somebody comes up with a rule and they're changing it immediately, which I can't get my mind around that because I'm so used to this whole process of 4 or 5 years to study it. Um, I'm totally okay with rule changes. I'm totally okay with. I think what it's all about to me, Ted, is does it make the game better? Does it make it better to play? Does it make it better to watch? You always have to make changes to evolve. If it becomes boring or mundane, then we need to make changes, and that's what happened to me in my first half of my career. Hit, guard, hit hard. It was awful. Now it's really interesting. Again, then it morphed into the 5 rock rule. Now we've got the no tick rule, which we're using here. I kind of like a lot of the changes. I think some of them, the only ones I don't agree with are the no tiebreakers. I don't love that, having to draw the button for a win. I think now we're starting to take away from the ability of teams to finish the game off, sort of thing. It might be for the wrong reason. It could be for television. I'm not sure what the reasons are, but I don't like that type of rule. Um, what other ones have they talked about? I think you're going to see more and more, though. I think it just seems to be the sign of the times. To your point, somebody comes up with a rule, and all of a sudden it's done. I'd like to see them study it, maybe test it a little bit. The Grand Slams have been the best at this. We've come up with different ideas, rules. We try them in the slams. If we don't like it, we turf it. If we do like it, we adopt it, and then it kind of morphs into Canadian Curling Association to World Federation, that sort of thing. Now the powers to be are kind of doing their own thing and coming up with different rules that you're changing at a world championship, which I'm going, oh my god, like that's not really the place to test it. Maybe test it before it. If it's enjoyed by everybody, then let's do it. My only concern through all this is I do think that the players should have a big voice in this. We're putting the show on. The players are putting the show on. Give them a voice to say, hey, we love it, we hate it, whatever. And if it's a majority rule, whatever the case may be, let's go with it. They're not doing that. They're making these rules, they're putting them in place and going, like all of a sudden, no tiebreakers come out. And if you asked any competitive curler, none of them would say they don't want a tiebreaker. So come on. Let's get the curlers involved, and that's the only thing that really upsets me. I got a feeling this is going to keep happening in the future.
Yeah, you talked about a few of those rule changes. Obviously, they tried the no extra end rule, draw to the button at the recent event in Fredericton, and I didn't talk to a curler that liked it, and I don't think the fans really like it either, because with a change like that, they're just not used to it. It's like, what the heck just happened here? And the World Curling Federation continues to talk about things like that. They like to talk about per end timing, which is another one I find most curlers don't care for. You said the tick rule, that one came in, and that's probably going to stick around. Seems like that one's more favorably viewed, but
Yeah.
you have to look at it, obviously, that it's a body that's trying to grow the game everywhere around the world, and they're trying to grow it in a television audience, and they're looking at ways. But does it ever affect the integrity of the game? That becomes the question that I think a lot of people have on their minds.
Exactly, Ted. And there's a fine line there, right? I think between the integrity and so growing the game is one thing. Now to me, what common sense to me is you get the Curling Canada or the WCF come up with a rule, they approach the players and you hash it out and you bring up all these points. Like whatever. Say the reason is, well, we're gonna get more television, we're gonna get more money, we're gonna get more funding if we do this. Oh, okay, well, maybe that's gonna grow the game. How is that gonna grow the game? We don't know, but explain it all. Nothing's ever really brought in and explained very well. It's just sort of done. And as players, we're going like, really? They're all of a sudden we're going to a time every end, like 4 minutes an end. Like, are you kidding me right now? Like it, and now it changes our whole disposition, how to play the game, how you enjoy the game, and we're going, why? Like, where does this come from? And I pick on that one, but um, this is where I just think as a group collective, we all have to, and we want to keep growing the game because in some places it's going the wrong way. We're losing curlers, we're losing viewers, we're losing bums and seats, we're losing everything, and that's something we've got to address. And if all these changes help that, and so it's not there yet.
Yeah, right. Well, Glenn, listen, I appreciate your time so very much. I know you're busy with curling, with coaching, and I know you're still loving the game very much. Are we going to see you still when you're 65 in this men's level, or we got another milestone to hit still here?
Listen, If you had told me when I was 50 that I'm still curling at 60, I'd say you're an idiot. But I don't know. Honest to God, I take it a year at a time, and I just play it by ear. But we'll see. It's coming to an end fairly soon. I think it's the body's starting to tell me, but never know. I'm still having fun, buddy.
Well, that's
All good.
fantastic. Great to see your smiling face, and always a pleasure to talk to you. Thanks so much for the insight. For Glenn Howard, I'm Ted Wyman. You've been watching On the Rocks.